My name's Matt. I'm a musician, and this last year I've been working with Soundbeam. I've been training teachers on how to use it, and I've been using it in classrooms in special schools across Nottinghamshire and Leicestershire. The purpose of the project, the Soundbeam Toolkit project, has been to help teachers understand better how to use Soundbeam. And we've been focusing on how Soundbeam can be used in classrooms, as we feel this is a lot more user-friendly than using it in one-to-one situations. Classroom applications means that it can be used with other musical instruments and in a situation where lots of different people can access it. So that's been the focus of our exploration. I first came across Soundbeam in 1996, and the idea of being able to wave your hands in the middle of the room with nothing around it and be able to create sound and be able to manipulate sampled sound, I found very exciting. Sometimes the needs of the children and young people that we've been working with has been such that it would take them a long time to get any sound out of a keyboard or a guitar, whereas Soundbeam gives them an instant way in, because the nature of playing Soundbeam means that you only have to move your hand around a little bit and you can play a sound, you can make a tune, you can trigger chords, you can even record and trigger your own voice or other things. And that would be impossible using acoustic instruments.
Music is something that we use a lot in the school because of the nature of the needs of our students. A lot of our students have physical restrictions. They're not able to access normal musical instruments. The Soundbeam actually allows access for all our students in one form or another, and students can see that it's their movement that is actually altering the sound that's coming from the Soundbeam.
I think the fact that the nature of some of our children is that they find it difficult to either communicate, or they may not have any vocalisations, whereas using the Soundbeam, just by voluntary or involuntary movements, they can be in control of making a sound, so they've got some ownership over what they're doing. So that, particularly from my point of view, a sensory coordinator, I find really valuable.
For me, musical instruments are tools of expression, and I think that the challenge as a musician and facilitator is to be able to recognise Soundbeam for that use, to see it as another instrument, albeit one that can open up an amazing world of different sounds that you can't get out of acoustic instruments.
It can be used directly in a music lesson to produce a piece of music to compose, but it can also be used as an introduction to an activity. It can be used to tell a story. You've got opportunities for various different sound effects that can be incorporated into the Soundbeam, so you can use it in English role play activities. You would be able to use it in a lot of different situations.
And an almost more important thing for me has been the sampler. We've got the methodology down to a pretty fine art now, where we can get a child up or a young person up, they can speak into the microphone, I hit two buttons, and then immediately their voice is on the beam. And that kind of instant relationship between saying something, no matter how obscure or involuntary it might be, and then hearing that, being sort of right at the forefront of what everybody's doing in the classroom, is very powerful. And there's no way you could do that without this new technology.
The work that we've done has been pitched at exactly the right level. I was quite amazed, really, because it's not easy to come and work with special needs pupils. The children have been really involved in all aspects of the work that we've been doing. They've been excited about it. They've been saying, you know, when's the next session going to be? They also get a great deal of self-esteem and confidence building through working with music, and also it aids communication as well, which is another, you know, important aspect with these children who do have a lot of problems communicating.
So if you imagine this, the training's taken place in two ways. We've worked with the staff in special training days which have been away from schools, where they're all together in one room. The training is then carried on in situ in the classrooms, either before or at the end of each session, where I've been able to say to the teachers, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing today, this is how I'm going to be using the Soundbeam, I've written this all down here, and you can take this session plan away with you and you can do this yourself. And that kind of in situ training works well because it means that they can see the relationship between what they've learned away from the classroom and what's going on in the classroom.
It's important to get the training, because if you don't get the training, then I think if people just come in and deliver, then once they've gone, that's it. Whereas if we're trained, you know, we can move forward and build on the work that they've been doing and hopefully develop it further in school.
The training's been really useful in that I feel much more confident with something that's quite technological. Normally I'm not very good at those sorts of things, but I certainly feel much more confident now to cascade down to staff and to develop a session with the student, and perhaps developing it beyond music into the curriculum as a whole. Obviously ICT, but also within sensory stories and reading, and using it within the curriculum in lots of different ways. I think it's going to be really valuable.
Chop, chop, choppity chop, chop off the bottom and chop off the top. What we have left we shall put in.
I like the part where we made a story. What's got Henry the whale, Jupiter the killer whale, and my bestest instrument was the alien boyfriend. What I liked about doing this music session, because you learn all new things like that.
As soon as they realised what the Soundbeam was capable of and became involved in the activities, that they started to come alive, and you could really see the eagerness and the anticipation each week. There were students who would get up and dance, who perhaps we wouldn't have expected to get up and dance in front of the beam. There were students who were a little bit wary, a bit apprehensive of the equipment to start with, but by the end of it were asking if they could use it and volunteering themselves to take part in different activities throughout the session. There were also students who particularly wanted to use the microphone, wanted to create their own sound samples with the microphone, who perhaps weren't particularly vocal students, who normally wouldn't really speak too much, but who, given the microphone, given the opportunity to affect their voices in different ways, really jumped at that opportunity.
I mean, it's all down to the skill of the music leader, and some people are born to be music leaders and some not, but you know, Matt's one of the naturals really, and very good at being able to engage young people straight off.
The most rewarding thing for me working with Soundbeam has been the response of the young people that we've worked with. There's been a sense of adventurousness and excitement and sort of an epic journey going on that isn't present when Soundbeam wasn't there. And I think that the main thing this project has taught me, and that people are taking part, is not to be frightened of it, not to push it to one side and think, well, that's a subject for another day. You get it out the box and use it today.
I think one of the things that I know schools have trouble with is this sense of creating awe and wonder, and certainly I think with having used Soundbeam within the sessions for the past few weeks, we've certainly achieved that sense of awe and wonder, and the children have been exposed to that. And it's one of those things that you can't really put into words, but until you see children that don't normally speak or that don't normally get involved achieving that, it's just you know, magical really.